All right, hey y'all. Thank you to thanks for coming to 5 years late. All right, today's video we're going to be looking at mostly parts of the trumpet and how to hold it. Right, in college they teach music educators about how to play every single instrument that you essentially would find in a normal band classroom, right? And the idea is that when you're up there in front of an entire band of 60 to 100 students at sometimes only 20 or 30, right? But the idea is that you would essentially be able to pick up any of those instruments and be able to show them how to do it, right? So that's kind of the approach that we're going to take with this, right? And so I'm going to teach everything about these instruments essentially the way that I learned to do these things through my music education program, right? But today we're looking at parts of the trumpet and how to hold it, right? So for this, I'm going to go and take off my rings because they're going to make some clanging noises, right, on the trumpet as I actually do things with it, right? But suffice to say, here you go. Mine is silver, right? Or I guess you could say it's probably nickel plated. Let's be honest here. This is a very non-name brand trumpet and it's not the best, right? But it serves the purpose for what we're doing today, okay? So going from my right over here to my left, right? Over here at the end you have this nice little opening right here, and this section is what we call the lead pipe, okay? The lead pipe is where the air goes into the instrument, right? Where you may use a mouthpiece, right? This guy right here goes into the lead pipe right here. Nice little, not even a quarter rotation when you put that guy in there, right? Dead serious. When you're doing this, you don't have to put this in really hard. Drop it in there. Dunk. Tiny little press and rotate. Tiny, right? It's not going anywhere, all right? I promise you, you can shake this around all over the place. It's not going anywhere, okay? Unless it's tuba. Sometimes tuba mouthpieces fall out all over the place. But then tuba mouthpieces weigh like 5 pounds each, so that's a completely different story, okay? Anyway, so we got lead pipe, right? That's over here at the far right side, okay? As it goes around, the air then passes through valve chambers, right? Going from right to left, okay, we have valve 1, valve 2, and we have valve 3, okay? And the air will essentially go in through the valves and eventually it will pass all the way around to this nice tubing here on the back and then exit over here toward the bell of the instrument. That's what you call that nice little flared front right over here. We call that the bell of the instrument, okay? Now, sometimes your instrument will have some other pieces to it. Sometimes it won't. It depends greatly on the model, right? But very, very common construction, right, is to have definitely at least a main tuning slide, right, which is this guy right up here in the front. Notice where I just it opened up and you can now see that there is a yellowy section, right, as well as the silver section, right? This is the difference between the nickel plated section on the outside and, well, the regular brass that's on the inside. Okay, this is what you call your main tuning slide, right? When you're in band and you're gonna participate in tuning with the group, right, to tune to your instrument's open note, especially with trumpets, you'll use that either open C or G a lot of times for that, right? This is the section that you will be using, is that main tuning slide. Okay, it pulls in, it pulls out, and you can adjust the pitch with that. Okay, if I show from up here, then we also have this nice little U-shaped hooky thing here, right, which is a part where one of your fingers is going to go through, and this is your first valve tuning slide right here. And then over here you see that we have a nice little ring that's also attached to a nice little track with some teeth in it, and there's a little knob that tightens that so that you can essentially go ahead and adjust where this ring is, okay? I don't have very big hands, so I tend to like it as close to the third valve as possible, right? But this ring over here is meant to adjust the third valve, right? Third valve's tuning, which these two adjustments you will use essentially while playing once you get to a certain level of skill, right? You'll literally choose certain notes, and those certain notes will have a tendency to be either flat or sharp, and so therefore you will tune them using the first and the third tuning slide. Okay, that's generally the idea of that. Okay, now the way we hold this instrument, right, is kind of thus, right? Now I'm going to hold it with my right hand so that you can see what happens with my left hand as I put it on. Now if you're, if you're able to do the whole Spock gesture right here, and you can have 2 fingers on top, 2 fingers on the bottom, and then your thumb in the back, right? And if you can do this, then you can hold the trumpet. Okay, so generally you're gonna have that kind of Spock hold. All right, the middle finger, right here, is gonna go through the ring that was attached to the 3rd valve tuning slide. Okay, and your other finger is just going to go right here on top of it, wrapped around the 3rd valve, and then your other 2 fingers here are just going to wrap around the bottom of the 3rd valve right there. All right, so just nice wrap around, and then your thumb, if I rotate it around this side, is going to go through that nice little U-shaped hook right here, right? Which you then will later be able to, push and pull these with your thumb and your middle finger as needed. Okay, so but this is the main portion of the instrument, right? That, well, you will be holding it with the left hand. It's really important to remember the right hand does not hold the weight of the instrument, right? The left hand does. If you cannot hold the instrument with just your left hand, well, then you're going to need to just work on that. Okay, you might need to develop a little bit of strength and some rotator cuff muscles and things like that. Okay, but that's for another time. Okay, so anyway, Spock hold, right? Going around here, 2 fingers on top, 2 fingers on bottom, right? Thumb in the back, in the hook. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Now we talked about how the valves are numbered 1, 2, 3, right? From the lead pipe to the bell, essentially 1, 2, 3. Yeah. From your perspective, it would be looking like this. Lead pipe would be facing you, and you would have valves 1, 2, and 3 going away from yourself, right? That's how that would normally work, right? So assuming now that you're holding it with the left hand perfectly, right? What you're gonna then do, go ahead and ball your hand up in a fist like this. Stick out your thumb though, right? And go ahead and take that thumb and stick it right up here between the lead pipe section here, and the 1st and the 2nd valve, right? You're gonna take that thumb, you're gonna stick it right up in there, okay? Don't worry about anything else just yet, right? Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the index finger, the middle finger, and the ring finger, right? And we'll just open everything up, right? And those 3 fingers, the first 3, 1, 2, and 3, they're numbered exactly as the valves are numbered, okay? So remember that. Your index finger is finger number 1, put it on valve 1. Middle finger is valve number 2, put it on valve 2. Ring finger is finger number 3, so put it on valve number 3, okay? Now, this part's really important. In the beginning, don't put your pinky inside the ring. Just don't, okay? Put it on top of the ring, right? Because the idea is that if you put it in, it gives you more leverage to pull with your right hand into your face while you're holding onto the instrument, which creates more tension in your face. And honestly, the best way to scare you out of doing it is that the more pressure you put on your face, the more you're going to mess up your dental work over the course of your life. I've seen plenty of trumpet players who have a really, really flat arch in their teeth in the front part of their face, right? All the rest are fine, but then they get this nice little flat spot right here because they've essentially been pressing the trumpet too hard into their face for most of their life, right? Now, I'm sure there's a certain amount of that you can't get away from if you're going to play trumpet for 50 years. There's just nothing you can really do about all of it. But you can try, and you can not have as much tension, right? So thumb in between 1st and 2nd valve, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fingers over here on top of the valves, all of them, right? And then the pinky resting on top of this, right? It should be fine this way because ideally your left hand is holding all the weight of the instrument, which means you don't even need this hook here, honestly, anyway. Really, I would prefer just have a little post here with like a little button on it so that my finger could just rest nice and gently. Just don't use it. It's not necessary for anything, okay? All right, that pretty much concludes parts of the trumpet that are, necessary for most people who are beginning, right? How to hold it, right? What to do with your left hand and where to put the things on your right hand. And that's all we're going over in this video. So, leave a comment and down in the description if you know the part that you want to know about next, right? Or the instrument that you want to learn about next, right? And go ahead and subscribe for the next part of the series, because once I start an instrument, I'm going to do the whole series and every single part on every single instrument, right? So, but thanks for coming and joining me here at 5 years late, and I'll see you here in the next video.